What you pack for your cruise to Alaska may end up being totally different from what you actually wear. So today I'm sharing my cruise packing wins and my fails and a couple of mistakes that I made, including one whopping big mistake that I just made when I was packing and prepping for my Alaska cruise. I am just back from Alaska. I was on kind of an early season cruise, and I have some specific wins and fails. We're going to talk about what I wore most, what I wore the least, and some mistakes that I made in general on this cruise. So where did we go? We went to Alaska's Inside Passage. We were there from mid to late May. Typically, this is a pretty sunny time. This is usually actually a relatively warm time to go to Alaska, but what made this different is that it was unseasonably cold while we were in Alaska. So I'm going to be talking about a whole bunch of different clothing items that I wore, and what you're going to want to do is go back and watch my Pack With Me video that I filmed before this so you can see what I intended to wear. And also, I have a video that I filmed on board talking about 15 Amazon finds that I used every day. Some of them were clothing, but most of them were more like those Alaska cruise essentials. So this is kind of part of that series, and it's going to help you out to watch all 3 videos. Let's start with our clothing wins from this trip. I want to talk about my new raincoat that I got on QVC. You guys, I don't know if I've ever bought anything on QVC up until this point. This pink raincoat runs kind of big. So if you're going to get it, make sure that you size down a little bit. I got it in a petite large. It was way too big. I had to send it back. I got the petite medium. It was still too big, but at that point, I didn't have time to send it back, so I took it with me to Alaska. It's really cute. It has a fun striped lining. It has really pretty gold buttons. It has this nice waist tie, and I feel like it's bright and classy and just kind of different from the other raincoats that I had experience with. And it's great if you're petite, but I think QVC also has it in standard sizing. So that was a win. Also, our luggage worked out terrific on this particular cruise. I took my favorite small Delsey carry-on bag that I took on the plane and a large level 8 checked bag that I actually checked. I know, your carry-on girl took 6 pairs of shoes, so I had to check a bag. And I also took a backpack for the flight. Everything worked out wonderfully. All wins in the luggage department, and I used everything. Now I want to talk about the dresses that I wore on this cruise. Alaska's really casual. Honestly, if you didn't want to wear a dress to dinner the entire time you were cruising to Alaska, you wouldn't have to. People wear jeans and sweaters and stuff that they wore on shore every single day at night, except for formal night in the main dining room where you can dress up a little, but honestly, you could wear jeans to the buffet every night if you wanted to. But I love to dress up on a cruise, so I took some dresses with me. I want to start with this black formal dress. I bought this one at a store called Versona. I know some of you have Versona, but it's been a few years. So I don't know if it's available anymore, but I love the fit. I love the corset style waist, and it was really fun for formal night. Also, it matched my husband's look. He wore this amazing sport coat that we got on Amazon. I'm gonna link to this because every guy needs to have this jacket. It is so comfortable, it folds well, and it does not wrinkle. And he paired it with a red shirt to match my red shoes, which I'll talk about later. Now, this next dress was kind of a fail, but I'm gonna leave it in this category because it did fit and it was pretty, but it was this blue formal dress that I got from Amazon. I wore it, but I just felt, do you ever feel kind of just like you're poking out of everything, and it felt kind of sausagey and yucky, and I felt like I had to wear shapewear just to be comfortable, and I feel like on a cruise, you should feel comfortable in your body. This one wasn't my absolute favorite, but it was pretty, so I'm gonna leave it in the wins category in case anybody's interested in it. I also wore this floral maxi dress a lot. I love the built-in belt. It's super flattering, and it was kind of long and nice, so I didn't get cold. It also matches a lot of different types of shoes. When I got home, I actually bought this one in another print because I think it's so pretty. So I got this blue and white one, and I'm really happy with it, and I wear it in a size medium. My gray and white striped dress from Loft was a go-to dress on this trip. It has a built-in tie, it has sleeves that kept me kind of warm, and it has a nice cotton fabric. I love this one, and it didn't get dirty. I wore it over and over again, and it was fantastic. I took quite a few sweaters on this particular cruise too, but the one that I reached for the most, that was my biggest win of them all, was this blue and white striped sweater. I wore it the most pre-cruise when we stayed at the Hyatt Regency, Lake Washington. I wore it there, and then I also wore it on the ship. I also packed a bunch of light polyester tops, like long sleeve tops, tie front to wear by day, and I wore them all the time. I even wore them to some casual dinners in the restaurant and in the buffet, and they were great. And I paired them with my Democracy jeans, which are obviously a go-to of mine. Now I want to talk about some accessories that worked out really well on this trip. I took this quilted purse. I wore it everywhere. It was perfect. It doesn't zip at the top, but it holds enough. It holds my cruise card, my purse, my lipstick, and whatever else I needed to put in it. And I could wear it in the daytime or I could wear it at night. It worked for dressy occasions and it worked for casual. Port days though, I wore this fuzzy crossbody and I loved it. It was off-white and it coordinated really well with my beanie and my scarf, which was great. So I just went with an off-white theme, and you might want to pick a theme for your accessories too. Beanie, scarf, purse, or beanie, scarf, and some kind of backpack, all the same color. I also had great luck with this little backpack that's water resistant. My husband, son, and I all wore it throughout the trip, and it was awesome. The size is great, and it packs down to almost nothing. Now, if you're going to Alaska, no matter what time of year you're going, you've got to pack a beanie and a scarf, because if it gets cold unexpectedly, like it did on my trip, it got really cold, you guys. You might lean on warming your head every single day. I wore this thing every day. I wore it inside, poolside, on excursions, just about everywhere, and I was so happy that I took it. One of the things that I learned is when you get cold, you lose heat from your head first. So getting that beanie on top of my head warmed me back up. And I paired it with this ultra soft and cozy scarf. I took a scarf in 2 different colors. The peach one wasn't super practical. I couldn't wear it that often, but I did match a couple of my dresses and it worked out. Okay, let's talk about the shoes. If you saw my pack with me, you know I took 6 pairs of shoes. I wore my Adidas sneakers all the time during the day when I didn't think they were going to get very wet, because they're just a nice comfortable sneaker, but they're not waterproof. Then I also packed some Columbia waterproof boots, which I wore on port days. They were terrific. And I wore my waterproof boots when we went ziplining in Ketchikan, and that was kind of my port day go-to. I also wore my sandals, like my dressy wedge sandals, quite a bit at night. They were beautiful, and wore all of those shoes for dinner. Now let's talk about the red shoes. These were so much fun to pack. I'm really glad that I took them, and I did wear them more times than I thought, and they looked so good with that black dress and my husband's coordinating black outfit. I did something fun on this cruise, and I bought a pair of boots just because. I really was happy with my Columbia waterproof boots, but I just had to have these extra tough boots, and I bought them at a store in Ketchikan, but I have found them for you guys on Amazon, and you will not believe the selection of colors and styles that they have in these. Now, if you're wondering what these boots are and why I wanted them, I always see the guides wearing the extra tough boots when I go on excursions in Alaska. Almost every single guide who's taking you on a zip line or a hike is going to be wearing the tall version of these boots. They're comfortable, they're fun, they're super waterproof, and I love them. I can even wear them around my property in the rainy season. If it gets kind of mucky, I can wear them outside and they'll protect me from the mud, and I can just hose them down on the outside. But they're comfy for walking, light hikes, zip lining, stuff like that, and really rainy conditions. You're going to do great with those. Now we have to talk about the fails, wah, 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 right? There's always a couple of them. All right, this is a hard one for me because this raincoat from Amazon, I actually love. I love it. I have it in 3 colors. I have it in a solid blue, a yellow, and an Aztec print. But like I mentioned at the very beginning of this video, it was really cold, you guys, in Alaska. For some reason, we had a cold trip. All 2 weeks were on average about 40 degrees during the day, and this jacket was a little bit too thin on some days. So it was fully water resistant. It worked as a raincoat, but it was a little chilly. It worked great when I was doing something active, like zip lining, but then I would get a little cold on deck, and I really had to layer it with a sweater, a scarf, and a beanie. And that's okay. I don't really regret it, and I don't think I would have packed a super heavy jacket, but this particular brand is a little bit thin. So if you're someone who runs really warm, you might actually like it because it doesn't get you very hot. It kind of is kind of breathable, but buy a big enough one that you can layer it with sweaters just in case. And I still think it's a good Raincoat for general recommendation, it was just a little bit of a fail for me some days. But I always had something to keep me warm, whether it was the scarf and the beanie I talked to you about, and even some days I would bundle up in a blanket. If I was out on deck and the breeze picked up, I can just put that over my jacket or over my shirt or sweater, and that was fine. So you're not gonna freeze. You can also buy another jacket on the ship. They have gift shops everywhere, and they always have a great selection of jackets on an Alaska cruise in the gift shop. So if you're in a pickle, you could always buy one there or in a port. Now for shoes, I took my reef sandals. These are great sandals. I love them. I wear them all the time. The only thing that I would say was the fail about them is that they were hard to get on and off when I was like going in the hot tub. So I probably should have just packed a nice basic pair of slip-on flip-flops for poolside, because I did spend a lot of time getting warm in hot tubs, and so I felt like it was a little hard to get them unbuckled and on my feet when I was super cold after getting out of a hot tub. I also forgot to pack a hat, but that is okay. Hats, baseball caps, that kind of stuff is really easy to buy in Alaska. It's actually a really fun tradition to buy one. So I got this cute bear one on board in the Princess gift shop. Now it's time for me to tell you guys what my biggest mistake was, because this was a whopper and it was totally unexpected. And I'm kind of embarrassed that I did not prepare for this. You guys know I always take a pill case full of all of the different medications I could ever need. In the pill case, I took about 3 or 4 Bonine tablets. Those are motion sickness remedies. They are, sorry about that, they're the chewable non-drowsies. I love them, but it turns out that we had rough seas, pretty extreme weather for this time of year in Alaska. And what I didn't anticipate is needing a heck of a lot more motion sickness medication than I took with me, and I ran out. Had to buy some in the gift shop, paid a premium for it. I don't know what I was thinking. You guys should see the box of Bonine that I have in my house. I have like 4 boxes of it sitting in a little tub that I could have taken with me. So it's a kick me moment. And I would say learn from my mistake, pack a little more medication in terms of motion sickness medication than you think you might need. Usually Alaska is really calm during the summer months, but we just got hit with some weather, you guys, and that was my biggest fail, my biggest mistake. So I hope you enjoyed this. This is a series that we do often. The what I packed versus what I wore you can find for other trips that we've done before too. I have one for a Middle East trip, one for another Princess cruise that was like a warm weather cruise. So I'm going to link to those. You can shop everything that's linked and numbered below, but you can also shop our Amazon cruise store. And if you're watching this in real time, like June or July 2025, you guys, Amazon's Prime Day is coming up. And that's actually 4 days this year. It's July 8th through the 11th. So you definitely want to be following our storefront and our social media channels for all the great releases. And I'll make a YouTube video here too with all the Prime Day deals. And I'll link to the blouse I'm wearing right now too. Let me know if you've had any major packing wins or fails on your Alaska cruises lately down in the comments. And until next time, we'll see you on the high seas. Bye-bye.